you have a show called Lip Service, and I think that show is very important when it comes to women, Black women in particular, talking about issues of sex because of the stigma with, for me, when I did the show, I was all uptight and I was like, I ain't never really talked about sex publicly. My uptightness is something that I'm dealing with now because we're not free when it comes to that. And so what tell me about that show and how it came about, like, because you are very vocal about issues that have to do with sex and very open about your sexuality and your relationships, and I think it's pretty freeing for women of color because we don't have that.
That's exactly why I did it, just for the reason that you said. And this all started because I have a lot of girlfriends and we talk about those things. And so I just thought it was funny that when I was at Sirius, right, this is where I started it, the guys that I was on the show with, once again, I'm the only girl in the room, they really didn't understand a lot about women and what we discuss. And they had this perception of what a good woman was supposed to be like. And I was like, it really started because of this. I was like, look, the receptionist, the doctor, your mom, whoever, they've had sex. And they've had all different kinds of sexual experiences. It's not a taboo thing. And so I wanted to show them that the average woman, like, we engage in these activities. And I wanted people to have a space where they felt comfortable to talk about whatever they wanted to talk about and not be judged. And so that's really how the show started. It started off as a segment, really, on my show on Sirius. Mm-hmm. And that's when it was Cypher Sound Show. And then I had my own segment once a week. And then the segment got so popular, they actually asked me to do my own show at Sirius based off of that segment. And that's how Lip Service really started. And what I started doing was inviting women that guys would see in these like King magazine, Smooth magazine, all of those Black men's magazine, but they had no idea what these women's personalities were like. So you like how she looks, but you don't know anything about her personality. So I wanted these women to have the opportunity to have a platform to come on and show who they really are and answer some questions and show their intelligence and their ambitions and what they have going on in their lives, not just what they look like. And also show they were fun. And so a lot of the girls, like Amber Rose, came on there before she dated Kanye, and that was the only interview she had ever done. And so I remember they would always hit me up when she started dating Kanye just to ask, like, hey, can we, get some clearance to use this video? Because it was a big deal for them back then. And so there's a lot of women who early on that might have gone on to become actors or whatever that ended up doing Lip Service and then moving on to do other things. But we had Remy Ma on, back then. And it was just a really fun show. And it was a way for women to also educate guys because, guys are kind of clueless sometimes when it comes to doing things like oral sex. And so I promise you, so many guys told me they learned how to do oral sex just from listening to Lip Service. So I feel like, if anything, my job is done in that respect.
When I did this show, I was on the show with Stephanie, and I was like, this girl looked perfect in real life. So I was sitting next to her, and I was like, wow, she's beautiful. It felt like like you at a barbecue and you sitting with your girls and you just having an authentic conversation. Because I do so many podcasts, and at that time when I was doing press for the special, I was doing press all the time. But there I felt like, I remember being so uptight when I sat down, and then I just finally was like, and it just felt, I forgot that it was being recorded. It just was a much needed conversation as a woman.
I was nervous. I was like, is Ida going to be okay with this?
No, it's because, what's funny is that we need to loosen up and we need to be able to have conversations like this, because the problem is that we don't. And we let other people own our sexuality and tell us who we're supposed to be. And what you guys went on tour. People love you.
Yeah, we did our first ever nationwide tour with Live Nation. So that was really dope. And it was an experience because I was still doing the morning show. So we were traveling from city to city. And so we would have the show at night, and then we would get up in the morning and I would get up and do the morning show. And then we would travel to the next city right after that. And then we have another show that night. And then I would get up and do my morning show. And I promise you, I will never do that like that again. Like in the future, it'll just be on the weekends. I cannot do that. I was so burnt out after that. I was like, this is too much, for me.
Which markets do you think were the most explosive with that tour? Where did you feel like that people were like the most receptive?
Chicago, for sure. They went crazy in Chicago. They were like standing up, yelling to our guests on the stage. G Herbo was there. One woman was like going off on him. I was like, what is going on? But it was funny. You know what I mean? And then in Detroit was sold out. Detroit was crazy. And so that was a really good show for us. And Houston was really good also. Atlanta was pretty dope. So yeah, it was a, you know, it was a good experience and I learned a lot. LA was good.